we have Andre Lassalle. He's a guitarist. I know him from the music scene. I've seen him at a few parties, and he's friends with a lot of my friends. And so I called him up and said, hey, Andre, you want to come on over to the show? So he is here, and he's going to be opening up with some music that he plays, and you're going to love hearing his music. Thank you, Andre, for coming in.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so take it away.
All right, this is
Great, Andre. Wonderful. Yay. So when you can get yourself unplugged, come on over for the chair, the hot chair. Yeah. I'm an easy interviewer. That's what I tell everyone. No trick questions. No. But you can tell me any secrets to it. Tell me any secrets. I promise I won't tell anyone.
I'm over 50.
So am I.
There you go. So that's my secret.
But I only tell people that I'm 33.
There you go.
And then they
Forever
laugh.
young. Right?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ginger. Been waiting so long to come on, and
I know.
yeah, supposed to be a little bit later, and it happened a little bit sooner, so it worked out perfectly.
So yeah, thanks for sending other press materials, and then everybody has to wait 6 or 9 months.
Yeah, right.
But we had an opening, you know, so that was really great. You know, sometimes
process.
Yeah, sometimes I double book, you know, or I assign a date for 2 dates for one person because I need that, and then that's what opened up for us. So, and you were first on the call list, so here you are.
Thank goodness. Here with the dimples.
And we were talking before the show, like how we met. So we met on a boat ride. We met through Larry. We know Topsy and Michael Powers.
Dave
Vinny
Martella, right?
Yes.
Dave Mullen, Vinny Martelli from Vanilla, all those guys.
I saw
Vinny,
Vinny
if you're
last
looking,
night. Vinny, oh my gosh, it was such a great show.
She's mad. She's cool people, man. She's really cool. Make sure we got to come back on here and do some stuff with Ginger. She's way too cool.
Why don't you call him up and then you both can come in and talk about the life as a guitarist.
I will do that.
That's fabulous.
I will do that.
And we'll try to move you up on the ladder too.
You see? I got friends.
The show last night at BB King's was amazing with Vanilla Fudge.
I'm so sorry that I missed it. We had found out about it. In fact, I had just done a television show on the Monday, and he called in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he called in to announce this show, and he called in to say hello to everybody.
That's
great. He's a wonderful soul.
Wonderful, and everybody's known each other for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know the thing with Vinny is we know Vinny from when we were kids because he was opening up for Hendrix and everything. So we get to know him, but we admired him.
Yeah.
You know, for a while, he was one of the guys who really taught us about the psychedelic thing. You know?
Oh, it was so exciting. And see, when I was growing up, I had an older brother who was a guitarist, and Vanilla Fudge was his favorite band. And I'm like, well, what about the Beatles too?
Right.
You know? And they're like, no, he was all in the Rolling Stones and Vanilla Fudge. So that's how I was introduced to them. And when I was listening to all the music, I was like, oh my God, this is no wonder my brother loved them so much.
And
you know?
now all the songs were coming back. That
oh my gosh, I was cruising in my red convertible. It was a '67 red convertible. Drag racing, all that.
That's so cool.
Music to Vanilla Fudge, and so I got everybody's autograph afterwards.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun.
I'm sorry I missed it, but I'll see him next time for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us what's going on with you. How did you get involved with music and playing the guitar?
Well, when I was a kid, I got into martial arts, and then I got legged as something called Osgood-Schlatter, is some kind of calcium overcount.
Oh, is that
and I was going up and doing my belts and all that stuff, and that stopped me. So my dad, one day, he comes in, he goes, what would you like to do? And he always played guitar. I said, I want to do that, play guitar. So I kind of picked it up, and it kept on going from there. And then early on, I met Vernon Reed.
Oh,
we were both, like, he was going to Brooklyn Tech, and I was going to South Shore High School.
Oh, my goodness.
And what happened was I was doing bad in school, and my mom made me quit the group. So a friend of mine comes over, he goes, man, you got to meet this guitarist. His name is Vernon Reed. This is way before anybody was, you know.
Anybody.
Was even thinking that we could make a living at it. You know, we were just doing it because of the love of it. And then from there, just kept on meeting a lot of the people. Got to play with Miles Davis, and you know, do a music soundtrack with him. It was kind of indirect, the way how we did it, because I was hired to replace Mike Stern. I was like, listen, Mike, thank you. He couldn't make the session, so Robert Irving asked me to do it, and forever, it's like, whenever I see Mike again, I got to give him a big hug, because...
Yes, I had a guest on last week who is a sax man, and he got a phone call to do a recording, and he said, before he hung up, it's like, and who's the artist? And it was John Lennon. Can you, unbelievable. I mean...
I would have had a slight aneurysm probably right there, and been like, hold on one second. Just a slight one, you know?
So what is it like growing up in Long Island around all these amazing musicians and then watching them through their whole career?
Well, I got to tell you, when I met a lot of musicians.
Including yourself.
Well, I was originally born in Brooklyn, and we moved out to Long Island. Brooklyn is where I met a lot of people. When I got out to Long Island, people like Vanilla Fudge, I started to understand them. But from Brooklyn, there was groups like Crown Heights Affair, Brass Construction, Sky, Arthur Rames, who ended up an amazing guitarist that ended up playing with Steve Arrington in the Hall of Fame from Slave. So there was a pool of musicians that were going around, and they were like our elders. They were like the older cats, you know? But they were very nice to us, and they allowed us to come and hang out with them. So I met a lot of these guys when they were still striving to understand how to get into the business. You know, we just happened to be right place, right time.
Yeah.
And then when I came out to Long Island, then it was like, when I was living in Brooklyn, we were one of the few people that went to rock, because a lot of people went to rhythm and blues and stuff like that.
Sure.
So when I came out to Long Island, it was a rock world.
Yeah.
It was completely different. Like, you can go out to Long Beach by Oceanside, and there was a nice, I forgot what the name of the small club was, but Hendrix used to play there, Johnny Winter used to play there. So there was such history that was going on in Long Island. So Long Island, I embraced it. Embraced it. So I still feel like a Brooklyn guy, but I couldn't live in Brooklyn. Long Island is silent. It's nice and quiet, you know?
A lot of boat rides.
A lot of boat rides, yeah. A whole lot of boat rides.
So tell us about Burnt Sugar.
Burnt Sugar is a group that had been put together from a fella named Greg Tate, who was a writer for The Village Voice, and him and Vernon Reed had actually put this, is kind of a it's kind of a Sun Ra type of thing, a free jazz type of thing. So with Burnt Sugar, we do gigs, like we've been doing a David Bowie project, a Steely Dan project, and a James Brown project. We did the James Brown project at the Apollo Theater to celebrate, I think it was his birthday.
I was almost there.
You almost made it. You were on the list.
I broke my foot.
Everything hard. Right. I ain't coming today. I was limping.
I can't do stairs. I couldn't do stairs at that time.
And we were like, "You coming, right?" She said, "Yeah, I'm coming, right?" And then all of a sudden it's like, whoops.
Yeah, I fell.
Wow. Well, the next time, as I said, you got carte blanche, so.
Oh, thank you. In fact, I was on my way over to M&N to see you and Dave perform here on a Tuesday night. Yeah, I can indirectly blame you.
I swear to goodness, I'll get you the biggest cup of coffee, any way you want it. We'll make sure you're taken care of. We'll give you retribution for that.
So tell us about that show.
The show was amazing because, and the funny thing is, we were doing it at the Apollo Saloon, and that's where they were holding the body while he was there, because you know they held the body at the Apollo for quite a while. So it was really weird doing the shows there.
Now, is that different than the Apollo Cafe?
Yeah, the Apollo Saloon is upstairs. I think it may be called the Apollo Cafe or the Apollo Saloon.
Okay.
They have switchable names.
Okay. Because they can rearrange those rooms up there too.
Yes,
so that's probably what it is.
And not only
as well.
did they kill a studio up there also, I used to record there with the Aleems.
Wow.
And I used to do doing a lot of house music with Tony Humphries, and we used to go up there. And there was an amazing studio like at the top floor. But we had done this stuff with James Brown, and then we did that once, and they called us back again. And then with Burnt Sugar, we went and we did it in France at a place called Sens de Verre, festival over there. So we went over there, and we've been doing Steely Dan at La Poisson Rouge, and we just did some work. In fact, it was funny. I was supposed to do work with Burnt Sugar and Melvin Van Peebles, and I fell that day.
Oh my!
Yeah, it was that day that it was all ice.
Oh.
Yeah, I had a home alone moment, folks.
Oh.
But I'm still here. That was a home alone.
It's tough.
It was no joke. So I missed that gig, but we're going to be doing I think the next thing we're doing is Minneapolis. We're going to Minneapolis, yeah. We're going to be going to Minneapolis. And then I've been doing stuff with my group Premonition, which is much more rock-based. Because that's where my heart is.
You know, I had a really hard decision, like what video do I use on your press release? Because both performances, both bands are really great. Yeah. You know,
something is, I'm glad that it could be represented by any of the two, because I would not like to be pigeonholed, you know what I mean? Okay. So that's one of the reasons why I'm glad that I'm able to do a lot of music with a lot of different groups. So therefore, it isn't like he's specifically that, and he's specifically that. Because when I grew up, you know, my father's from Trinidad, my mother's from Colombia, so we were raised with so many different, American music was not the first music I got into. The first music I got into was salsa and calypso and bossa nova.
Oh, wow.
So it was always rhythm, you know.
Is English your first language?
Yes.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're born here?
Born here. But father from, you know, like the first generations, when you're the first generation, you're constantly being sent back to Trinidad, you're constantly, you know what I mean? So you kind of live, you kind of raised in two worlds. You know, over here, you're American, over there, you're like really polite and everything, you know, yes sir, yes ma'am. So, you know, it's like that. It was good. It was great discipline, you know? Helped me to be have manners with around people. I keep a lot of friends that way. I keep a lot of friends.
Yeah, so what else is on the horizon for you? Do you do any record? Well, tell us a little bit more about the band, the rock band that you have.
The rock band is put together from some people in Burnt Sugar. Mikkel Banks is on vocals. I had Gerald McNeil on bass. He works for BAM, Brooklyn Academy of Music.
Sure.
But he's going to be on hiatus for a little while, so I'm going to be waiting for him to come back. And Trevor Hold on drums. And I got Juma Sultan from Jimi Hendrix's band on percussion.
Gee whiz.
And so he was playing with Jimmy at Woodstock and at the Harlem concerts and stuff like that. And he heard what I was doing. I did a slightly different version of Manic Depression. Manic Depression is 3/4. And the one that I did was 4/4. So I remember I went to Janie and I told her about it. She hasn't heard it yet. I said, well, you know, when your brother wrote it, he wrote the manic side.
Wow.
Like manic depression, and mine is the depressed side. Mine is very slow at ease. You know, it's got a funk vibe to it. So we heard that, and he's been so supportive. And you know, Juma, if you're looking at this, thank you so much. And I mean, to be supported by somebody with that type of history is very humbling.
You know, just to hear the story is amazing.
Yeah, it's humbling. It's,
Yeah.
and him I met through my cousin. Actually, I met him through the Aleems and through David Kramer. Remember that David Kramer is the guy who was booking, well, last time I met Larry. And David Kramer booked all the Jimi Hendrix shows that were happening at B.B. King's on Jimi Hendrix's birthday.
Got it.
So he was really bringing in a lot of people. Through David Kramer, I met, well, Vinnie Martelli, most of all, Johnny Winter, Buddy Miles. Because of him, he had me, you know, I'm real grateful to him, too.
That's great. How has the music scene changed, you know, say when you first started? But I mean, it's hard, I guess, to compare because you're a kid and now you're an adult.
I can tell you the biggest change that I see is that people are not really taking the time to learn how to play instruments. People are computers are a wonderful thing. And it is a tool also, but some people are using it and not taking the time to play music. That's what I hear. I hear there are some good musicians, but they're much more far and few between. When I was a kid, you used to walk down the street and you used to hear a bunch of plethora of bands playing. You could literally go to the doors and start to pick licks and run home and practice them. You know what I mean? It was really like fun, you know? And that type of musical camaraderie, I think, is starting to come back. But also the radio stations were different. You used to be able to hear Miles Davis, Grateful Dead, and Hendrix on the same radio station. You used to go to concerts and see Miles Davis, Jimi Hendrix, and the Grateful Dead at one concert. That type of thing. The plethora of music, the diversity, it's much more mainstream. It's really trying to target crowds so much. And that's the biggest thing that I see as far as differences in music. There isn't that much of there's not too many people that are wide. There are, but as I said, it isn't like it was before. You know, I mean, I guess it's coming back, but that was the biggest difference that I used to see.
Because that was a lot in the 70s, too. There was so much. See, I grew up in the kind of 70s. You know, I know the 60s music, and I was very happy with that. And then when I was listening to the 70s music, it was like, wow, every different song.
Forget about it.
You could really tell groups from their.
Yes.
Yeah, there's.
They had stamps. Like you could tell when you were listening to Crown Heights Affair, you could tell when you were listening to Brass Construction, you could tell when you were listening to OJ's or whatever. Everybody had a very signature thing. Nowadays, that's another thing. A lot of people sounding the same. Sometimes I can't tell if it's a female singer or a male singer who's doing what.
I know Blue Magic.
Yes, I have some friends that play with them. Howard Robbins, killer cats, dude.
Yeah, I work with one of their wives. And so I love listening to their stories. And they've been around for like 40 years.
Easy.
Unbelievable. They go on cruises and they get flown all over the world. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah, I'm hanging out with my friend. He's like, well, you know, I'm leaving to Las Vegas. It's like, go to hell. Bring me back a coin or something like that. Bring me back some fixes. But yeah, he's doing a lot of stuff. And Blue Magic, I have two friends that work with them.
Yeah.
But they've been around for so long. And they're one of the basis of our whole musical education.
Yeah. Yeah, B, who you met earlier, another producer here, is friends with them, and she has had them here on the show and stuff, and she's booked them for events and stuff.
Well, next time you got to let me know when they come over. I would love to.
Well, I've been trying to get at least a couple of them in to talk, but they're always busy. They're always busy.
Well, you know something? You're persistent.
Yes, okay.
And your persistence will always pay off.
Okay, that's what happens. Because sometimes it does take a year or 2 years. I'm working, even my cousin, my found cousin, Steve Broderick, who ended up being, he was a lead vocalist and guitarist for Trans-Siberian Orchestra. What do you think of that? And you know how I found him?
That's in Long Island.
I didn't even know. Is that amazing?
I know the guitarist from that too. Man, this is like small world.
You know what happened? How I found him is I was on the calendar for Rockwood Music Hall. And I saw Steve Broderick, someone with my last name. So I went and looked for him up on Facebook, and I wrote to him, and like, boom.
Yep,
so he's scheduled in April. Yeah.
That's great. They always do a Nassau Coliseum around Christmas.
Yes.
And they always sell out.
Yeah. They were over in Berlin for New Year's. I know that. He
Yes.
flew out with them. I can't wait to have
They're
him in.
killing.
Oh, I know.
They're killing. They've been around for so long. They remind me of like Yes Genesis type of that type of classic rock type of thing, classical rock.
Yeah. Well, we have about 3 minutes left to the show. Can you imagine that? Boom, it goes just that
by
fast.
so fast. Well, you know something, it's a lot of fun.
And I don't have any notes here on you either.
Yeah, we can keep on talking. We probably might go after the show too. But the thing that I got to thank you is for the platform of which a lot of us musicians can come out and be exposed to different places to get a footprint.
Yeah.
You know, it allows us to get a footprint out here in Manhattan, and there's other places that allow us to get footprints on Long Island, and it's very important.
Yes. And you know what I enjoyed about doing the show is that it's not all about the lead vocalist.
Right.
You know, there's so many other musicians in the band that have stories.
Yes.
And it's really interesting for me to have everybody come in and tell a story. I like, you know, like a documentary, you know, and I love the photos. I love, you know, you know, and all those different kind of things, CDs and guest lists and all that kind of stuff is fun for me. But what's really important is, because I did a lot of financial interviews on radio and TV when I was growing up, and that's how I got involved with media. And it provided some validation, some credibility. And I wanted to share my excitement and you know, enjoyment for that. For the show, and actually it's taken off more than I expected it to be.
When I met you, you weren't. I mean, I don't know what you were doing, and the next thing I hear you for Gibson, and the next thing I'm like, you're all over the place.
Yeah.
So whatever happened, you got blessed.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just
I'm
taken on
you,
a life of its own.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I was just going to do one tape show a month, and next thing you know, we're here live.
You were like,
every
no,
week.
you're not. You're doing more. I mean, you think you're doing one. We got plans for you.
Yeah. So it's great. Thank you so much for coming.
Anytime. Thank you so much. And I'm just glad you're feeling better and everything.
Oh, me too.
And please, the next time I invite you, maybe I'll see about somebody sending a car or something like that so you can make it. Don't fall again. Just come to the show. It's a lot easier.
Hey, you know, I saw you were here at Dean's show here, right, a few months ago?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about what happened there. We have a couple more minutes to talk about.
Dave Mullen?
Yeah. Do you play with him a lot?
No. In fact, you know.
You know where I saw you? I haven't seen you. It was at Dave's jam at the Rec Forum.
Right.
Yes.
I
hadn't seen you since the 4th of July party.
Since the 4th of July party.
Yeah.
And he was doing the Dave Mullen Butter. His guitarist is a guy named Larry Marsden. Larry Marsden is the guy who taught me how to play guitar. And we didn't know that, I didn't know he knew Larry. So he comes and he hears me play, he's like, damn, you sound just like, and I hadn't seen Larry in years. Hi, Larry. And Dave was like, dude, you sound just like my guitarist, Larry Marsden. I said, well, Larry Marsden is the guy who taught me how to play. It's like I used to look at Larry and call him spider fingers. That's why I moved the way I do, because I used to look at him, it's like, his fingers look like spiders and stuff like that. So that's how I got involved with Dave. And Dave, I know him from what he was doing. He does stuff with Gloria Gaynor. And he's in a bunch of groups in Brooklyn. So the thing that I like about playing with him is because the sax is the lead instrument, and it's a completely different type of twist when we play the Stevie Wonder tunes or something like that.
Yes,
so
he's been here doing that.
I love playing with Dave.
It's amazing, right?
And Ronnie too, my man Ronnie on percussion.
Ronnie Rock?
Yep, Ronnie Rock, love him. Hi Ronnie,
Hi,
and
Ronnie.
yes I will do it, yes I will.
Well, we're about out of time,
All
a couple
right.
more minutes, I mean a couple more seconds. So I just want to thank everyone for joining in this afternoon with my guest, Andre Lassalle.
Thank you.
And it was a pleasure to have you in.
Thank you so much,
Come
Ginger.
back again.
I would love to.
Bring your friend Vinny.
Yes, you know something? That's the next one.
There
bring
you
him
go.
Vinny.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.